Hey guys, Ash here from C4 Retech and welcome to another episode of Ash Answers. We are at episode number 99 now and thanks a lot for all your support through everything, for continuing to watch the show. Big thank you. Anyway, Ash Answers is a show where we answer the questions that you tweet out to us on Twitter with the hashtag Ash Answers. So without further ado, let's get to the questions. What do you think about current Android flagships having both notch and a chin bezel? Why can't they remove one of them? Good question. So basically, Apple has removed the bottom bezel, and how they did it was by curving the display to the bottom. So this is an expensive process, something that other manufacturers aren't willing to do, or an expense they aren't willing to take on. After all, the iPhone 10 is like what, $1,000 phone. In India it sells for around 90,000 rupees. So we don't have Android phones in that segment, at least not the starter variant. So this is something we hope to see going forwards as technology to do it becomes a little cheaper and so on. But as of now, that's the reason why the bottom chin exists. But then Apple has popularized the notch, and brands also want to kind of get the best screen to body ratio possible. So everybody is moving towards the notch for the moment. Did you completely move from your old place? I thought you might be doing some kind of special video before moving out from there, because that old office is very special for C4 Retech. Yes, it was a very special place, but we have moved out completely right now. Sadly, we didn't have the time to do any kind of moving vlogs or something like that because it was like an all-night thing to move. We literally, the guys went back home by like 9 in the morning. So that's how hectic it was, and it was a chaotic move. And then we still had a lot of stuff moved after that, so it was kind of chaotic. So yeah. We are totally shooting from this new setup right now. I'm living out of this place, home/office, running well right now. So that's that. I couldn't find reasons to hate LG G7 ThinQ barring its odd name. Do you think creator community is biased towards LG because creator of Decade MKBHD till date hasn't done LG phones G5, V20, G6, V30 review? Guys, it's not about being biased, it's just about LG not being relevant. And yeah, LG fanboys, do not get pissed, but this is just me being factual, not me being mean. LG hasn't been relevant in the smartphone industry in a while. Now, yes, from time to time we do get LG stuff popping up. We've covered a lot of LG phones, but the reason here is LG kind of doesn't trust themselves. Now the G6 came with the Snapdragon 821, which was it was kind of crippled that way when it came out. Now with the G7, if you look at it, they've got the notch, it's already been done, they've got cameras, but the cameras haven't kind of outdone Pixels or Samsung's or now the Huawei P20. I mean, it's never really outdone the competition. It's been great cameras, don't get me wrong, but it hasn't outdone the competition. And LG doesn't trust their wide angle enough to actually throw a lot of money behind it and market that as the selling point of the phone. And it's just that way. And even LG kind of has an identity crisis. Okay, let's talk about this. How does a brand lose fans? When you buy into something, when you believe somebody on something and then they go back on their words, then you lose trust for them. Now, if you look at LG, they were adopters of the LG Flex models, and LG kind of canned that line. When LG came out with modular phones, they were adopters for those modular phones. LG kind of canned that line. Then when LG said that there shouldn't be any keys on the front and keys need to be to the back, everything needs to curve subtly, we bought into it, but suddenly LG's gone back, they aren't doing that anymore. Okay, and then you look at the POLED stuff, they had it on the G Flex too, and then it didn't happen for a while. Then it again came on the V30 Plus, V30 and V30 Plus. Now it's again not that. Yes, they've got MLCD here. Yes, they're doing a great, it's on paper, it looks great. 1000 nits brightness levels on the G7, lower power consumption for the display. It's still Quad HD. I like all that. I'm not saying no. I'm just saying that LG keeps changing their own identity from time to time. It's like even LG doesn't know what they're trying to do, because initially there was a Pro line, then there was a Flex line, and then it became like the V line. And again with the V series, it was supposed to have a secondary display, which was kind of a precedent for the notch, in a way. It still had something extending on top. And even LG didn't know why it was there, right? a secondary display up top meant you had to hold the phone in both hands and then use it. Wouldn't it be easier to use the shortcut key? So and it was the ruggedness of the LG V10. It was awesome, and it was supposed to be about the selfie cameras. It had 2 selfie cameras, and then that was gone. The rugged industrial build that it had, that was gone. There is evolution, and then there is chopping and changing way too much, and LG has been kind of all over the place, taking inspiration from everywhere, trying to do different things that LG's own fan base has kind of eroded over the past few years because of so many changes in directions. Now, as much as we can hate Samsung for stuff, at least Samsung, they decide on something, they stick to it. Like, they stuck to the S build, like the S2, S3, S4, S5, the build for way too long. It was sad. But then Samsung did. They're like too late to change. But whereas with LG, they're like constantly chopping and changing stuff. Feels like they don't trust themselves. I would like, whether it's good or bad, when you look at a brand like even Motorola, they went with the mods around the same time as LG. The mods haven't like shot through the roof. They haven't been like extremely good. But those people who were early adopters, those hardcore Moto fans who did buy into the mod ecosystem, they're still happy with their products. But on the other hand, the ones who went with the Friends ecosystem, like the LG Friends, for the G5, they're all bummed out today. They're pissed. I mean, they are like irrelevant, right? It's kind of like it never existed. So those kind of missteps from LG, and the fact that their PR isn't proactive to send out units, is why you don't see a lot of coverage. The coverage from us, it all comes from the point of what you guys want to see. And when so much things are happening with LG and the viewers aren't really interested in LG, we don't get requests. And on the other hand, PR isn't very proactive, so we don't, if there are too many requests, we buy it and cover it. That's how LG loses out on coverage. Long story, I'm sorry. And here's Mr. Who's the Boss. Have you ever deleted a video after posting it because people didn't like it? Hey Aaron, love your channel, love your work, mate. Me, I've never deleted a video because people haven't liked it. I have taken down videos and reposted it when I've messed something up with edits, I've forgotten something or things like that. Like from a technical point of view, if I've messed something up, I've taken it down, I've reposted it. But I haven't really taken down a video after posting it. Hopefully I'd never have to do it. I have a video that was never uploaded though. Never released an episode of Ash Answers, to be honest. So this is actually episode number 100 because there's this one episode that never went live. But yeah, Sundar completed engineering, has talent and experience, so expected him to pursue a certain and secure future. On this regards, do you have any words about the uncertainty of a YouTuber's life? See, YouTube is nothing but change is certain as a YouTuber. You need to be constantly evolving. A lot of things change in an instant. So if you're looking for job security, if you're looking for knowing this is where I'm gonna be in 5 years, YouTube is not the place for it. See, YouTube has a lot of negatives. Somebody working a 9 to 5 job, once you're done with your 5 o'clock, you go home. That's it, you're done. You might get a call from your boss at some point, but that's it. You are pretty much, the switch is flipped, you're off. You can chill out with family, play with your kids, have some fun time with your wife, watch movies together as a family and do something or the other. But for a YouTuber, it isn't that way. It's not just a YouTuber. Whenever you're running your own business, it's a little bit more for a YouTuber because, well, it becomes like second habit to take your phone out and check for news and check for comments and stuff. And there just has to be one weird comment somewhere and that can get you at 2 o'clock in the night. Okay, it kind of takes a toll on you mentally over time. It causes burnout, it causes fatigue, it causes you to be annoying to your loved ones. It happens all the time. But then again, as many negatives as there are, for every negative comment you see, there are like 20 awesome, you awesome guys there saying positive things. But then again, the human mind is as such that it focuses on the negatives more than the positives. But then it's stuff like that that keeps you going. Yes, there's no job security. Yes, you don't have great 5-year plans. And yes, that's reasons some people don't want to do it. But for those who are here, it's more about connecting with all these people, wonderful people. I mean, there's absolutely no chance that I'd probably talk to somebody from Egypt. if YouTube didn't exist. All right, I have, as in, Egypt, I'm just saying, any country for that matter. In my life, I would have probably spoken to people in 3 countries at best if YouTube didn't exist, if the internet didn't exist. But YouTube lets you connect with people in nooks and crannies of the world, like different parts that you'd never ever travel to, you'd never talk to. So many cultures, so many people, the community is awesome. And as long as you have a drive for it, then yes, that would be the driving force that would keep you going despite all the hard times and everything that YouTube keeps serving up. But then again, I mean, that is basically it. That's why I always tell to people who say, can we start a channel, should I do YouTube? I tell people, if you're in it for the money, it's not gonna happen. If you really like talking to people, if you really like getting other people's viewpoints on what you do, if you really want to connect with different people around the world, then yeah, YouTube's an awesome thing. The money that comes with it, that's secondary. It is a byproduct. It's like you run, you get tired, but you don't run because you want to get tired. It's just a side effect. So that's how you need to look at YouTube. So there are a lot of cons, but then it's the pros, how much you value every comment that you read. Every time somebody says first, some people find it annoying. For me, it's like somebody cares enough to come and post a first on it. Don't comment something useful, anything. Say something about the video. I don't want you to post first. But then again, it's just like, I see it and it never annoys me. It's like I always like interacting with you guys, and for me at least, that's what keeps me going. Sometimes you guys hate me, sometimes you guys love me. It's part and parcel of being a YouTuber. The fact that I can inspire a response, either way, you love it or hate it. That's why in all my videos, if you see, I say, hate it, vote it down, love it, vote it up, give it a thumbs up. I'm okay either way. As long as nobody is clicking on either button, that's the day I'm going to be really bummed out, because you guys stopped caring. And the fact that you care is what keeps me motivated, what keeps me coming back day after day. And that is the only way you can sustain as a YouTuber for a long time. And that's like 2 long answers. I'm sorry. Which is the best small, easy to carry secondary smartphone available below 10K? You'd have to go with either the Honor 9 Lite or the Redmi 5. Both of them are kind of small, and the 9 Lite more so, below 10K. Is Nokia 8 2017 a better buy than the Nokia 7 Plus? Guys, it's always, if you're looking at last year's flagship versus this year's mid-ranger, the chips never stack up. This year's mid-ranger is never going to perform. As much as brands might show it on paper, this year's mid-ranger is never going to do better than last year's flagship. So I'd go 835 every single time. Yes, you'd lose out a little bit on some other parts of like build or something like that, depending on the phone you're talking about. You'll lose out on 18:9 and all that. But for me, okay, this is one more thing I want to talk about, right? I've seen quite a few people say Ash only cares about the processor inside. He gives the maximum weightage to it. You're not wrong. I do care about the processor a lot. See, this is how I look at it. If your camera isn't great, you have an excellent processor, you can still get by, as in you can do everything on your phone and take pictures, because there's no real potato cameras out there these days, right? Everything can get you your social media pictures. You take a crappy camera, it can still do reasonably good images. Like, as long as the lighting is good, it's gonna shoot decent images. You most of the times when you're sending something to somebody, you're not even framing it, right? I don't. Like, I'm just I got a new package, I'm sharing it with the guys. I just take it like, hey guys, this is what we received in office right now. And those kind of things, it works. Yes, you can't really post those amazing pictures on Instagram and all that, but then that isn't so. If you don't have a good chip inside, you've got excellent cameras but a weird chip inside, then it's gonna tell upon you every single time. You're just like, let's say you have a Moto G4 Plus, okay, excellent cameras, blare chip. So then it's like you open up the camera, there's lag, you're like trying to quickly search for mail, it's still lagging, you're outside, you just stopped on the side of the road, you want to navigate to your friend's place, and then it's like loading, crashed. And that's what's going to tell upon you the most. So for me, the processor and the display are high priorities. Even if the build isn't very ergonomic, that's fine. The build, the camera, the audio output, those are all things that will affect you during one part of your usage. but the display and the processor inside, that's gonna affect you throughout your usage, 24/7, whatever you do. So I do give them a lot of weightage. Anyway, I just took that chance to explain. Who will replace Sundar? Why is Shahrukh not coming on the English channel? Will Harris work full time for C4 Tech in future? Pranav, you get one question, dude. You don't get to add 3 questions into a tweet. Anyway, we have no replacements at this time. I'm going to be handling the videos, so that should be fine. Shahrukh isn't comfortable with English, so he doesn't do the English part. He does do a lot of B-rolls in the last few months. In fact, most of the B-rolls have been handled by Shahrukh. Even most of the edits have been done by Shahrukh. So now, so that you're not going to see any change in quality. Not a lot's going to change on the channel. So yeah. Harris working full-time. He's still in college. He's just finishing up his second year right now. He's got 2 more years of college left. So after that, who knows? You know, like I said, nothing on YouTube. You can't predict anything on YouTube. Change is the only constant. Why doesn't Samsung provide all necessary sensors on their mid-ranges, even though they are charging premium prices for their devices when compared to other brands/companies? So Samsung has this habit of cutting down things voluntarily so that people want to buy something from the higher end, and that's the reason why they do it. It's just a shitty way of making profit, and I don't agree with it, but sadly that's what Samsung's been doing. But at least now we've seen a little bit of improvement over the years, ever since the J series came out. But then again, every time they take 2 steps forwards, they do a J2. You know, there's a couple of steps back as well. So they're like moving a little in front, coming back a little bit, moving, coming back. How much time do you take to shoot a video and do the processing and post it? Depends on the video in question. There are some videos, like news videos, take about 6 hours totally from inception to finish, whereas 4 to 6 hours. As in, we can do it in 4 hours if you're seeing just still images. If you are gonna see us do a little bit of like a zoom in and stuff, that's gonna take 6. So it depends on how hot the news is. If we really want to break it, we rush to 4. Otherwise, it's 6. For unboxings, it's around 10 to 12. For full reviews, it's around twice that. Reviews, comparisons, blind tests, and all that. Speed tests will fall under the 6-hour mark, 6 to 7 hours. Nokia phones seem to go unnoticed nowadays. What to you may be the reason? So Nokia phones aren't really going unnoticed. It's just that in a market like India, unless you price yourself sensibly, nobody's gonna care. Like, you just take a look at Asus. When the Zenfone 2 came out. I kind of mixed both of those words together. I'm sorry. When the Zenfone 2 launched, there was a huge hype for it, right? Because it was priced so damn aggressively. It was probably one of the first phones with 4 gigs of RAM, and everybody went bonkers for it. And then came the Zenfone 3, and it was met with pin drop silence. The spiritual successor, the Zenfone 3 Deluxe, nobody really cared about it, right? Because it was priced so high. But now once Asus kind of comes up with a phone like the Zenfone Max Pro M1, it's like a mouthful. Nobody wants to really say it, but everybody wants to talk about it because it's priced so damn competitively. They could have priced it 2,000 rupees higher and we would have still called it a good deal. So it's very rare cases where brands price stuff that low, and so yeah, it's making a huge dent in terms of coverage and everything. So that's the same thing with Nokia. When Nokia 6 came out, it wasn't priced too high, it wasn't the best value for money, but it was Nokia making a comeback, the people reminiscing, old times sake. So yeah, it got a lot of coverage, it got a lot of eyeballs on it. But then the Nokia 8 was and then this year their pricing has been a little bit on the higher side. The Sirocco, for example, with an 835 charging that higher premium, it's just how it is. Which is why you don't hear that much about Nokia anymore. It's just the pricing. If a OnePlus 3T is running perfectly, which smartphone do you think can actually warrant an upgrade from it if budget isn't an issue? Not asking because I want to upgrade, just asking because I want to know how much the market has evolved. The market hasn't really evolved, dude. See, it's more of it's a myth. We should have probably featured it on our myths video. Maybe we should do a part 2 for it. Here's a part 2 our myth video. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. If you want us to do a part 2, let us know in the comments. So the myth is that you need to upgrade your phone every year. This is something brands have successfully made us understand, or rather follow. You look at it, do you upgrade your TV every year? Do you upgrade your consoles every year? Do you upgrade your PC every year? Do you upgrade your graphics card every year? Do you upgrade your washing machines every year? Do you upgrade your microwaves? Okay, I'm going off tangent, but then phones are basically smaller PCs, smaller versions of laptops. Do you upgrade your laptops every year? All of these we are happy using for 3-4 years at least, right? But then phones are like almost annual upgrades. Why? Technology isn't moving that fast. You look at an 821 device today with the 845, it still performs quite well. Here's the thing, right? Do you guys remember the Nexus 9? I guess I might be wrong, 8. I don't remember. Or the Mi Pad, the original Mi Pad, and the Tegra chip that Xiaomi used in it is what Nvidia uses on their Shield TV. Now, they've constantly been updating it, and it still works flawlessly. I still use the same Nvidia Tegra, the Shield TV. I still watch all my stuff on it. I don't feel it's slow. It's fast, much faster than a Prime TV stick, as in Fire TV stick from Amazon. It's much more expensive, but it's great. It's got built-in batteries for the remote. It's got voice control. I did break that. Doesn't work for me. But I dropped the remote way too many times, so my mic doesn't work. But it's got all that. It's got a controller to go along with it, and it's awesome. Why? Because they've been updating it constantly, and it works well. But if it were on a phone, like look at the Mi Pad itself on a tablet, it wasn't updated that long. Nobody even remembers what the Mi Pad is, and that is how it is. So it's just something that the brands have kind of made us believe that everything needs to be upgraded. It's not really evolved that much. What do you get today from a OnePlus 3T? You get an 18:9 panel, you get marginally improved cameras, you get marginally improved as in, I'm saying on a larger scale of things. If phone cameras are here and DSLRs are here, we haven't come like halfway, we've just moved a notch. That's it. And of course there are notches. So overall, you don't need to do annual upgrades. You can probably upgrade once in 2 years. That too only because of brands crippling software supports. I would really like to see, again, this is not going to be a popular opinion. I would like to see something like a easier way to kind of, unlock your bootloaders and then have a third-party software, like something like what Cyanogen was in the past, something like a Cyanogen for your phone, wherein you can just pay the brand for annual subscriptions, and they have developers working on updates for your phones. The brand doesn't have to do it. We can still continue using a phone for as long, because if 3-4 year old hardware on my Nvidia Shield TV is giving me the same kind of flawless experience after all these years, 821 today shouldn't be bad. 801 should still be usable, not as bad as brands kind of cripple it as time passes. What are your thoughts about MediaTek Helio P60 with reference to Oppo faking benchmarks in F7? If OnePlus had done this, it would have been major breaking news. If Xiaomi had done it, it would have been major breaking news. When Oppo does it, when a lot of people don't care about the phone to begin with, it's not really major breaking news. But then again, it's just something every brand does. It's sad, it's stupid. The P60 is actually sad to see it on chips that are good. I mean, I can understand Qualcomm, a phone with a Qualcomm Snapdragon 615 and a brand doing it for that. Yeah, it wasn't a great chip. You had to manipulate benchmarks. I get it. But for a P60, which is actually quite a good chip, it wasn't needed. But then it's just Oppo being Oppo, I guess. Buying Pixel 2 at 38k, is it a good deal? Hell yes. Pixel 2, awesome. 38k, awesome. You're not going to get 18:9, but then it's still like a very nice little tiny form factor that you don't find a lot. And those cameras are great. They still hold up good today. Recently, Xiaomi has posted on their official blog an Alphabet S. Is it Redmi S series or Surge series? It's both. Redmi S2 coming out with Surge S2. And that's happening on the 10th of May as far as I know. So yeah, that's that. What is sensor size in smartphone camera? How is it effective? So sensor size is basically how big the sensor is. So that's where the bigger the sensor, the more detail that can be captured. So, okay, let me actually break it down. I'm not going for 100% technical accuracy. I'm just trying to keep it simple. So, there are different ways of how, basically more light equals better pictures. So there are different ways of getting more light in. One is having larger sensors. Two is having wider apertures. And three is keeping the shutter open for a longer time, even with a narrower aperture. If there's only this much light coming in, if you're doubling the amount of time it can come in, you're getting more light than on a bigger, wider aperture. Or your sensor could be bigger. So these are the three things that go into it. And then there's software processing and stuff. So basically, the larger the sensor, the better the images, because we are expecting the more light to come in, meaning the images should be crispier. So that's that. That's how sensor sizes work. Which is why, despite all the large apertures and everything, a phone camera doesn't come close to a DSLR. That's because DSLRs have much larger sensors. You've seen the size of DSLRs, right? Why is that some of your videos are dull and look washed out, and then there are some that are totally spot on and amazing? It's just moving pains. Every time we come to a new place, we move sets and stuff. We still have to nail down our lights. We still have to. It's a lot of experimentation because I don't know the theory behind everything. It's all, everything. Whatever I know is me teaching myself. It's all self-taught. Whether it's editing, whether it's grading, whether it's setting up lights. So there's a lot of trial and error going into it. So that's why sometimes we get it right and then we don't know what we did to get it right. So we try to recreate it, it doesn't work. And then a few episodes later, we actually manage to get it right. So we try to keep track of what we are doing, right? And sometimes it's a hit or a miss. So that's that. Will you guys cover the OnePlus 6 launch event happening in Mumbai? Probably not, hopefully not, because OnePlus have invited me to their London event, so I am flying out. Hopefully, I have my visa application. I don't know if I will get it. It's too last minute. If I do get it, I will be covering the OnePlus 6 launch from London. This will be like my first launch event outside India. So I'm happy to be going with OnePlus for this. But then my first launch event would not be the OnePlus 6, it would be the Honor event, because I'd be attending that on the 15th. Again, this all depends on me getting visa. I did apply, so let's see, fingers crossed, hopefully. May your question pick my question. Should I buy Honor 8 Pro at 23K or Redmi Note 5 Pro? Gaming is my first priority. Like I said, last year's flagship versus this year's mid-ranger, as great as the mid-ranger is, always go with last year's flagships. The Kirin 960 is a great chip. I would personally go with the Honor 8 Pro here. So those are all the questions that I picked for today's episode of Ash Answers. If you hated the video, you know what to do. But if you did like it, go ahead, give this video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. And if you've already subscribed, hit that bell icon to make sure you get notified every time a new video goes live here on C4eTech. And now, I must bid you adieu. Thanks a lot for watching. Till next time, this here is Ash. You've been watching C4eTech, and I'm signing off. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.